Fairy Tail is back, and this was a really good chapter, actually. So we start off where we left off with the Scenario Sisters' magic affecting all of the former dragon gods across the continent. And even though we went through multiple arcs to defeat and seal all these gods, apparently that just is going to be undone. Still really like this chapter. It was really good, but this part just annoyed me. Like, what was the point of doing all of that on chapter 163? And everything that happened before was completely meaningless, because every single dragon god that we defeated is back. Except for Darmagon for some reason. He's just gone. Maybe when the spell is completely finished, he'll come back, but for now, he just didn't return. As for the gods that did resurrect, they're actually more powerful than they ever been before. And not just that, but they seem to have lost their minds slightly. It seems that the power they're now unleashing is just too much for them to handle, and they're just destroying everything around them. Mersefina, for example, is completely obliterating the town that he swore to protect. A massive storm just appears above everyone, and giant pillars of water just start crashing down, destroying the buildings. And he doesn't even seem to be focusing on it either. This just seems to be an effect of him gaining his power. Selene is also going through it at the moment, where she grew to a massive size that she wasn't before, and the rest of the Diablos Guild are freaking out because there's nothing they can do. They're all basically begging for her to calm down because she loves humans. She doesn't want to do this, but once again, the power just seems to be overwhelming her, and she's just destroying their entire base. And out of nowhere, a giant lacrima just appears right outside the city. And when I say a giant lacrima, I mean it's the size of a mountain. It makes the Tower of Heaven look like a joke. It's unclear if it has anything to do with Selene's power or not, but it's appearing around Selene, so I'm going to assume it has something to do with her. Ignia then finally explains to Natsu what's happening. Apparently, Darmagon's maze is massive. It has been spread out across the entire continent. And this spell the Scenario Sisters activated was really just to activate... It was more like a switch to activate Darmagon's spell, which does two things. One, unleashes the full might of the dragon gods, and two, turns humans into dragons. We haven't seen the humans get turned into a dragon's part, otherwise people across the entire continent would have been turning into dragons. So what most likely is there's probably an altar inside the maze somewhere that allows you to turn yourself into a dragon. And I'm going to assume that once everyone who wants to be turned to a dragon is turned to a dragon, that's when Darmagon will eventually return, because that's when his spell is complete and he'll be able to resurrect himself like he did everyone else. But yeah, Ignis plans to wipe out humanity and bring back the Age of Dragons that ended 400 years ago. That's when Dark Farris declares that she will wipe out both dragons and humans, because that is the will of her arm. So yeah, it's been confirmed the evil that was inside Acnologia turned this version of Farris into a madman, just like Acnologia himself. And of course, Natsu declares that he's going to fight for humanity. And of course, Natsu isn't taking this as seriously as it should be taken, because it's Natsu, and he's actually all excited that he's going to have this big fight. And as he's saying his catchphrase, "I'm all fired up," he just completely teleports, and he appears in front of his friends. So yeah, they went to Asafina, asked him to teleport Natsu to them, and now they're safe. By the way, I mentioned this back in the Golden Owl arc. Why not just teleport the captured friends of Fairy Tail to Asafina? And apparently, they could have done that. They just didn't do it. Whatever. Dark Farris is all happy. She's actually kind of humored by this situation, and she decides to teleport away, leaving Ignia and his guild mates all by themselves again, and they don't seem to care, because they're about to initiate the final part of their plan, which is to turn all of themselves into dragons. Once again, I assume there's probably going to be an altar involved they have to go to, and that's probably where the big battle is going to take place. What I'm questioning is, how many people are they going to turn into dragons? Like, it can't be the entire continent, right? Because if they turn the entire continent into dragons, that is going to be an absolute horror show. The amount of people that are going to be slaughtering each other. Because the fact is, dragons don't really get along with other dragons. We knew that 400 years ago. It'll be an absolute bloodbath if every human on the continent gets turned into a dragon. So it has to be a select few. I'm just wondering which groups of humans are going to be transformed. As for Dark Farris, she's off with her people. Yeah, so apparently Farris really did steal a lot of Xerxes' magic, probably studied him really well, because I can't imagine he left any written notes behind. He stopped doing that 400 years ago. But yeah, she created a bunch of books of Farris. That's right, she created demons. And I seem to recognize two of the demons, actually. Now, she refers to them as the Horatio Seis, so it's kind of obvious the guy in the middle who it was. It's Zero, the former leader of the Horatio Seis, which heavily implies she either based this demon off of Zero, or she just picked up his corpse and transformed him into a demon. Either way, that's really fucked up, because Zero was already a psychopath. I mean, there was a magical seal put on him because of just how violent and sociopathic he was. And if you look at the only girl standing next to Zero with the goat horns, doesn't she look a lot like Karen, the wizard that was originally the owner of both Loki and Ares? Keys? I mean, that does look a lot like her, right? Then again, it could just be the art style, or some characters look the same. But seriously, it does look like her. Anyway, we now have multiple factions for this final war. We have Natsu's team working alongside Diablos. We got Selena, who could be on their side or against it. It's unsure. All the dragon gods are on their own side. Ignia with his Fire and Flame Guild, and then finally Farris with some demons. We really are in the final arc, because things are about to explode. Alright, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe, give a thumbs up so you can enjoy more Fairy Tail and other things. Thank you, and have a great day.